Wow. I was not expecting it to be that good. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of the much-anticipated alien Romulus. And I've had some time to sit and think about it. I didn't want to just rush it out and put out this video, so I gotta say, I really liked it. But I already have friends who are saying completely opposite language than me. I'll share some final words at the very end of this video about what I think about franchises that have been around this long now at the end to kind of wrap it up. But for now, let's get into what I thought about the film, what it's about, spoiler free right now. First up, this is a movie by Fede Alvarez, who has picked up the mantle to do an alien movie. And honestly, I think that's a great idea. He's done a lot of really wonderful films and done a lot of really great service for a lot of different horror films. Are they different? Are they exact? Yeah, they're different a lot of times, but this one I really feel is very similar to the franchise. Fede Alvarez also wrote this movie alongside Rodo Sayagues, who has helped him with many other films. They're like a writing team together. But what is it all about? So we got a group of young kids who are on a planet that are trying to terraform it by our famous corporation that is much more evil in this movie than I think ever before, because these kids seem like they're working slave labor, essentially. They find a derelict space station in orbit above the planet that they're on, and they decide to scavenge it for what they need to get to the next planet. And the young colonizers come face to face with one of the most terrifying life forms in the universe. Now, I'm gonna say up front, I personally really enjoyed this movie because it kind of feels like a vibe of part 2 and part 1. I was a little weirded out because of the young cast, but they quickly grew on me. Some people are having issue with them, not me personally. Some of the main roles are Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, who David Johnson, I really honestly think shines in this movie, but I don't think that he could have done it without Kaylee Spaney's help. The other characters, they do have a lot of backstories and connections to one another as to why all of this happens and why it goes awry in the first place. And I think that they did a good job of writing it. The sets and the fucking view of this movie is spotless. Even the computers look like the old computers. They did an amazing job of the set work on here like no other. And I would expect that of a Ridley Scott production, which this is. To give you guys an idea, I have not been the biggest fan of the most recent films by Ridley Scott when it comes to the Alien franchise. I like them for what they are because I like the lore, but they felt very empty as far as the characters were, almost kind of like the prequels of Star Wars did with the Jedi. They just had no personalities that I was really into. Here, I feel like the characters are back, and the backstories and the like struggles of them getting through this space station and everything that goes wrong alongside of it. Now, I'm not going to say that these are better characters than the first two movies, but they're definitely sufficient. David Johnson is fantastic, and I think him and Kaylee Spaney really bounce off each other very well. There is some gore in the movie too, and some unique ways that they kill people that I was not expecting. Stuff with the lore that I have not seen in an Alien film, which I really enjoyed. And the music and the sound effects for all of that is good. Like the music in particular is just got some really great moments in it that just feel like really different than I felt in an Alien movie. It definitely feels sci-fi and very unique, but they do a really good job. As far as some of the callbacks and fan service in it, there is some, but I've seen so many egregious movies that really push the fan service too much, and it bothers me and gets under my skin, and I just don't enjoy the movie. And then my score starts to drop the more fan service I get. There are some callbacks and some shots that they use in this film, but I don't feel like other people who have said that it is completely ripped off the story of 1 and 2. I don't think so at all. I think they do a couple of nods. There's different characters doing different motivations, and then there's reasons why, like I said, these things go wrong, and I enjoyed that. I like the situation. It feels very seamless, like it's a part of the universe that it's supposed to be a part of, and this derelict space station connects directly to these first 2 movies. I think they did a good job of that. This isn't the most gory. A lot of people are upset that there's not enough gore, but they did use a lot of practical effects, including human beings. There is some CGI in the film that people are going to notice that are going to be upset, but I personally was able to rationalize with why it looked that way in my own sort of way. But I am just glad that we got to see actual practical aliens like the old days before CGI. Obviously, they couldn't do it in every scene. If you've seen the trailer, then you know that the face huggers are back, and they are back in abundance. And there are some really crazy scenes with that in particular that I had a rush of excitement. I personally found this to be very intense in a lot of moments. There was like 4 or 5 sections of like real big intensity, and there was a couple surprises in it where I wasn't expecting the movie to go further than it did, even though I wanted it to, because I was just enjoying my ride further than I was expecting, and does something that kind of is a nod to another movie in the franchise, which I won't mention, but it's very slight. By the finale, which I thought was actually pretty damn good, it does borrow a couple of throwbacks, but man, does it get pretty wild and gnarly at the very end. Now, as far as franchise go, I understand at this point in time, as I've grown up with a lot of these, I know that movies are going to be different for everybody now because we have multiple generations of people watching the same movies, and sometimes they come in and watch this movie over the first movies and love it, or they will watch like something like Covenant and Prometheus, and that was their first introduction to aliens. And I think the people who liked those movies and wanted that direction to go where Ridley Scott wanted it to go, they may not enjoy this film as much as someone like me who wanted it to go back to more aliens and still pay homage to the synthetics and all the characters. But character work is my important thing here, and I think they got that on lockdown here. This is not going to be that super heady Prometheus movie. It's a little bit more, consolidated into a smaller environment to give it sort of that claustrophobic feel again, but also give you some action like they did in part 2 in a way. Maybe not as much, clearly, but definitely doing some unique things with the lore that I have not seen in alien movies before. I personally don't think they're the same. And like I said, with franchises now, no 2 people alike will be the same. They're going to find things in the franchise, in different movies that they like the most. But for me, I got exactly what I was hoping for and then some. But I still like all of the movies in their own way. They're just not 10s out of 10. I went into it with high expectations and it superseded it for me. Even Christina, who is very particular about her films, she did say a few things about the fan service, but I didn't think it was that bad. But she still gave it an 8. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. It could go up, it could go down, but it's definitely one of the better movies I've seen this year, and I'm very happy to have seen it. But I would love to hear what you guys think. Not every movie is going to be the same for everybody, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, long live the void.